Hey guys, Nathan here, founder of Embodied Excellence and creator of the Infinite Possibility video series. This week, I would love to talk to you about a project that I was working on that reminded me and taught me in some ways of 5 really important life lessons. So the project that I was doing was I was trimming a tree. And not decorating a Christmas tree, that's not what I mean. I mean actually trimming an overgrown, crazy bush, or tall tree actually. They're about 10 feet high or taller actually. But they've been overgrown, and I took on the project. I said, I'm going to trim this thing. It needs to be done. So as I was doing it, these lessons actually just kind of popped into my head. And I'm like, oh, I want to make a video about that. So this is that video. The 5 things that I learned from trimming a tree. Life lessons, that is. So number 1 is this. Always do your research. Or when you're taking on a new project, do the research, ask a friend, phone a friend, ask Mr. Googs, go to YouTube, because chances are whatever project you're taking on, my guess is that somebody has either written about it, a book or a blog, somebody has done a podcast about it, somebody has made a video about it, it's somewhere on the internet. So make sure to always do your research first. In my case, I actually I sort of did this. I have a friend, so just quick disclosure, I am not a landscaper. I don't really know much about trees other than that they grow, they have leaves, they lose their leaves in the fall. That's about the extent of my knowledge. So I asked someone, a friend, and gave me some great advice about this particular tree because it's so overgrown. Just not to trim off too much because then the tree could actually start to burn and maybe not do so well. So I did get a little bit of help, which is great because I probably would have gone crazy and tried to trim the thing to exactly the shape that I wanted, and it would have like fried and died. So I had that advice. That was awesome. So always do your research. And why is this important? Well, depending on the project, the reason it's important is because 1, it can save you a lot of time. It can save you time if you've studied someone who's done it before, you've learned those steps of where to look, what to watch out for. So it can save you time in how to do things faster, how to do things better. And the other area is it can save you money. It can save you money in what to buy, what supplies to buy, how to get things cheaper, or it can save you money in not messing it up and having to redo it. So think about that. Think about it can save you the time that you can spend with your family, time that you can spend with your kids, your loved ones, doing the things that are so important and meaningful to you. Or it can save you money, which of course is always great to do. You can invest it, save it, put it in a vacation fund, whatever works for you. But that's the first lesson I learned, and luckily I had that one in advance. So the second, what is that second one? The second area is get the best tools for the job. I unfortunately did not follow this one. And I was, they have like cool little things, like almost like chainsaws, but not chainsaws for trees. I'm showing you my limited knowledge here. But I was using old-fashioned clippers to trim these trees. Now again, these are like 10, 11 foot tall trees. Not the best tool to do this job with. So I'm telling you from experience, always try and get the best tool for the job. And if you can't do that, then get resourceful. That is one of the biggest things, and you've probably heard this lesson before, is that usually when we can't do things, it's not because we don't have the resources, it's because we're not being resourceful enough. So in my case, I didn't want to go out and buy a new piece of equipment. I didn't want to go out and rent a piece of equipment. I was inspired, I was in the moment, I wanted to do it, so I just started doing it with what I had. Now, maybe not the smartest way to approach it, but I was inspired and I was there and I got it done. So I got resourceful. For you though, I'm going to say, if you can, go out and get the best tools. If you're building a new company, maybe online, and you need a website, there's plenty of amazing tools that you can get at websites for free these days. So whatever area your project or ambition or dream is in, identify what are those tools that you need and put in your schedule to either get them, allocate them, ask a friend if they have them, depending on what the case is, and just use the best thing possible. Again, this is going to save you time, it's probably going to save you money, and you can do a better job, most likely. All right, so what is that third area? Well, the third area that I learned is you're gonna make mistakes. So even if you do the first two steps, even if you do the research, even if you have the best tools, you've never done this thing before, most likely, so you're gonna make mistakes. So this is really about just being okay with that, really, and accepting that, you know what, this is my first time through and I'm gonna learn a heck of a lot of stuff. I'm gonna learn that maybe I shouldn't have done that, or maybe I should have done this part a little bit differently or a little bit better. Or maybe I just realized there were some areas I didn't think I had to research, but now I know I have to. So you're going to make mistakes along the way, and that's beautiful because that means that you're stretching, you're growing, and you're learning some stuff. And that's going to, ultimately, that's what it's about. It's about making progress. So anytime you're learning, you are making progress. Even if you learn the hard way, you're making that progress, and that's what it's all about. So celebrate yourself, know you're gonna make mistakes, and that leads us into the fourth lesson that I learned is this. Even if you make a mistake, the tree is still gonna keep growing, unless you mess it up really bad. But the tree is gonna keep growing. You're gonna be able to course correct. And I would say in most instances in our lives, when we tackle new projects and start going after our dreams and doing all that stuff, and we are, like I said, we are going to make mistakes. It's not a question of if, it's a matter of when and what the mistake is, right? So when that happens, it's important to remember that that's what life is all about. It's about identifying situations when we make those mistakes and saying, okay, where do I need to go from here? What's the direction? How do I course correct and orient myself back towards where I need to be going? It's not about beating yourself up. It's about just acknowledging, accepting where you're at, and then saying, okay, this is what needs to happen, and making it happen. So that's the fourth step. And the more that we can understand that and identify that, okay, this isn't the end of the world. I don't have to over dramatize this. I mean, how many times in your life have you just like totally flown off the handle and just totally thought something was ruined or like it was game over, man, when really it wasn't. You just had to slow down a little bit. And maybe you just had to put a little more thought into different options of how you could approach the situation and what new solutions might be able to present themselves. But that can't happen if we're all caught up in the drama fest, right? We need to take a moment to slow down and say, okay, how can I course correct here? It's a great question. Okay. So that fifth area, that fifth life lesson that I learned from trimming the tree is that even if you do all the other steps, and let's run through them again real quick, even if you do the research, you get the best tools, you make those mistakes that you're going to make, but then you course correct and you end up with this final product. So for me, it's this nicely shaped tree. So at least I hope so. And let's say you get there. So the last thing is that, you know what, no matter how perfect you do it, no matter how amazing you feel like you succeeded in doing that goal, that dream, that aspiration, someone is not going to like it. There's always going to be haters. There's always going to be somebody who's going to say, nope, you should have trimmed the tree that way. It should have had that shape to it. It should look like this. You should have done that. I don't like the way that looks. Your hair looks funny. Well, not my hair, but so there's always going to be those haters, and here is the beautiful thing. Here's the beautiful opportunity in this piece. The lesson that I would say is when that happens, it's natural for us to go into our ego and to be like, oh, like, you know, those haters and like feel bad about ourselves or just maybe even ridicule them. But here's the thing. All they're doing is they're giving you constructive feedback in an inconstructive way, right? Or a destructive way, maybe, depending on their language. So let yourself actually tune into that. Let yourself listen to what they're saying behind all maybe the negativity. What is the actual criticism? What's the feedback that they're giving you that maybe is true? That maybe you could incorporate into your next go around or into your next project. But always looking, always learning. What is the thing, what is the lesson that I can learn from this experience? Because the beautiful thing is that it's beautiful that not everyone is going to love our final product. That not everyone's going to love what we do. Because that gives us access to different perspectives. And different perspectives are really what's going to help us make ourselves better, make our products better. So those are the 5 things that I learned this past weekend while impromptu trying to trim these overgrown trees. Let's run through them again. I want you to think about this week where in your life you could consider these different things and maybe start to implement them or take on those perspectives or look at it from that perspective and see how that might change your situation. So number 1 is always do the homework first. Do the research as best you can so that you can hopefully shorten the time or the money investment to you. Number 2, get the best tools for the job. Asking friends, phoning friends. Maybe you have to buy something. Maybe you have to just rent something. Maybe you can find free tools depending on your situation. And if you can't find the best tools or it's not worth that particular investment, get resourceful. That's what you need to do. So put yourself in that state that says, I want to do this, get in that inspiration, and get resourceful and get it done. That third area, you're going to make mistakes. Be okay with that. Just accept it. And that leads into number 4, which is just understanding that tree is going to grow back, right? You're going to be able to course correct along the way. It might take more time. It might not take a lot of time, but you can always course correct and make that difference. And then that 5th area is there's always going to be those people who don't like that final output, no matter how amazing it is. So always be learning. Where's the lesson that you can take away from those people who are trying to be negative and put that negativity into you? What's that lesson you can learn? So I hope this video has been useful to you. I hope it served you. If you know anyone who could hear any of these messages, especially if they're trimming a tree, just kidding. I would love for you to leave a comment down below or share this video, like this video, and just let people know let me know how it served you. I love to have people interact and be part of the community. So thank you for watching, and until I see you next week, you know what to do. Go out there every single day and be an extraordinary ambassador for humanity.